Ferry Montter, and the suspiciously dubious sports tournament. After surviving his first week without permanent injury, unless you counted emotional damage, Ferry was looking forward to a quiet weekend. Unfortunately, Foggwarts had other plans. All right, first years, boomed a large mustached man named Professor Biff Boffins, who was either the gym teacher or an escaped circus performer. It's time for your first mandatory fun activity, skyball. Ferry frowned. What's skyball? It's a highly respected sport where you fly around on broomsticks and try not to die while throwing a ball through flaming hoops. Harmonica explained, flipping through an absurdly thick rulebook. Also, apparently, there are no real rules. Correct! Boffins shouted. Now grab a broom and let's go. Ferry hesitated. He wasn't exactly eager to get on a broom after his last airborne experience, which ended in him crash landing into a nest of extremely offended owls. But before he could protest, the school's star athlete, Chaz McSwagger, strutted past him. Hope you're ready to eat dirt, Monter. Chaz sneered, flipping his golden hair dramatically. Skyball isn't for amateurs. Ferry glared. Oh yeah? Well, well. He scrambled for a comeback. Well, your face isn't for amateurs. Chaz blinked. What? Yeah, take that. Ignoring the confused stares, Ferry climbed onto his broom, gripping the handle tightly. The game began with a loud whistle, and within seconds, complete chaos erupted. Students zoomed in all directions, some flying straight into walls, others getting tangled in their own ropes. Ronbledore's broom immediately caught fire. I don't know how this happened, he screamed as he spiraled out of control. Meanwhile, Ferry attempted to chase the ball, but his broom had other ideas. Instead of flying straight, it spun wildly in circles before launching itself into a nearby tree. Boffins roared with laughter. Ha 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 ha! Classic first years, now get back in the air before the skyball itself eats you. The what? Ferry asked nervously. At that moment, the ball sprouted tiny wings and fangs and let out an unsettling screech before chasing after him. Ferry groaned. I really hate this school. Ferry Montter and the mysterious midnight detention. After an unfortunate skyball-related incident involving 3 overturned cauldrons, a haunted locker, and a brief but terrifying encounter with a carnivorous sock, Ferry, Ronbledore, and Harmonica found themselves sentenced to detention. At least it can't be that bad, Ferry muttered as they followed a grumbling Haggard through the darkened halls. Oh, it's bad, Ronbledore whispered. One time, my brother got detention and had to spend the night organizing cursed teacups. They whispered unsettling compliments at him for hours. Last week, some kid had to fight a ghost in a wizard duel. Harmonica added cheerfully. They say he still haunts the 3rd-floor bathroom. Ferry gulped. Great! Haggard finally stopped in front of a door marked, Do not enter under any circumstances. Seriously, we mean it. Right, in ya go. Haggard grunted, shoving the door open. Your task is simple, survive. Before they could react, Haggard shut the door behind them. The room was pitch black. Something growled. A pair of glowing red eyes appeared in the darkness. Ronbledore whimpered. I hate this school. Ferry Montter and the thing that should not exist. The growling in the dark grew louder. Harmonica fumbled for her wand. Lumos, she whispered. A dim light flickered, revealing a shadowy figure lurking in the room. It was a school janitor. But not just any janitor. This one had glowing red eyes, a mop that levitated on its own, and an aura of pure existential dread. Who dares enter my domain? The janitor intoned in a voice that sounded like 1,000 whispers from the void. Ferry gulped. We're just here for detention? The janitor nodded solemnly. Ah, yes, detention. The true test of a wizard's soul. Ronbledore raised a hand. Are we supposed to, clean something? Or the janitor raised a hand. The walls trembled, the floor shifted. A dozen brooms rose into the air and pointed menacingly at the students. You shall clean, the janitor intoned, or you shall be swept away. Ferry sighed. I hate this school. Ferry Monter and the Brooms of Doom. Before Ferry could protest, one of the enchanted brooms lunged at him, aggressively sweeping the floor beneath his feet. He yelped as he was lifted slightly into the air, flailing his arms. Abandon ship! Ronbledore shrieked as three brooms ganged up on him, forming a tiny tornado of dust and destruction. Harmonica, meanwhile, was trying to reason with the janitor. Sir, I don't think forced manual labor is an appropriate form of detention. The janitor's eyes glowed brighter. Oh? Then perhaps the sponges! A cupboard flew open, revealing dozens of enchanted sponges. They began hopping menacingly toward the students, dripping with soap suds that smelled suspiciously like despair. Ferry groaned. This place is going to be the end of me. Ferry Monter and the Curse of Professor Doomfoil. The next morning, Ferry stumbled into his first Defense Against Extremely Illegal Magic class, only to be greeted by a tall, wild-eyed professor wearing a cloak covered in poorly drawn skulls. Welcome, students! Professor Doomfoil boomed. I am your guide to surviving the darkest arts. But first, a test! The students groaned. Harmonica, however, clapped excitedly. Oh, is it multiple choice? Doomfoil laughed maniacally. Foolish child, there is only one choice, survival. He clapped his hands, and the classroom floor opened beneath them. The students plummeted into a pit filled with wailing, glowing jellyfish. Good luck! Doomfoil cackled, leaning over the edge. Ferry flailed as the jellyfish surrounded them. This is not a classroom activity! Ronbledore, panicking, tried to cast a spell. Uh, Floatius not dyingus. Nothing happened. Great, Ferry muttered. Our school is run by lunatics. Harmonica, meanwhile, had pulled out a book mid-fall. Oh, it says here that these jellyfish respond positively to compliments. Ferry sighed. Fine. Hey, jellyfish, you have nice, tentacles. The glowing creatures wobbled excitedly and gently carried them to the surface. Doomfoil clapped enthusiastically. Excellent! You leave! Ferry rubbed his temples. This place is going to be the end of me. Ferry Monter and the cursed homework. After barely surviving his first week, Ferry decided he should at least attempt to do his homework. This was a mistake. All right, he muttered, opening his spellbook. How bad can one little assignment be? The book immediately snapped shut on his fingers. Ow! Harmonica peeked over. Oh, you got one of the newer editions. They bite if they sense weakness. Ferry glared at her. What do you mean, if they sense weakness? The book shuddered in his hands and let out a low growl. Ronbledore, lying upside down on his bed, sighed. I wouldn't bother, mate. Half the time, the homework does itself, and the other half, it tries to eat you. As if on cue, a scroll on Ronbledore's desk suddenly sprouted tiny legs and sprinted out the window. Ferry blinked. Did your essay just run away? Yup. Are you going to chase it? Nah. Ferry sighed and turned back to his spellbook, which was now vibrating ominously. He carefully opened it, only for it to unleash a deafening scream. You should have started this 3 days ago! The book shrieked before slamming itself shut again. Ferry groaned. This place is going to be the end of me. Ferry Monter and the Library of Terrible Decisions. Frustrated, Ferry decided to seek help in the library. He immediately regretted this decision. The Foggwarts library was a maze of towering bookshelves, filled with ancient tomes that were more judgmental than helpful. The librarian, Madame Sh, glared at him the moment he entered. No loud noises, she hissed, even though Ferry hadn't said a word. He cautiously approached the nearest shelf, only for the books to shuffle away from him. I think the books don't like me, he whispered to Harmonica. Harmonica was already buried under a mountain of books. Nonsense! Books are our friends! At that moment, a dusty old tome hurled itself off the shelf and smacked Ferry in the face. Ronbledore, who had tagged along for moral support, pointed at a particularly thick volume labeled Forbidden Spells and Mildly Illegal Activities. Bet that one's got the answers! Harmonica gasped. That book is banned! Ronbledore grinned. Exactly. That's how you know it's good. Ferry hesitated, then reached for the book. The moment he touched it, the entire library started shaking. An ominous voice echoed through the aisles. You have chosen poorly! The bookshelf exploded. Madame Sh appeared out of nowhere, wielding a wand that looked suspiciously like a taser. Out! She screeched, chasing them toward the exit. Ferry sprinted for his life, dodging flying books. I just wanted to do my homework. This is why I don't study. Ronbledore huffed as they barely escaped. Ferry collapsed outside the library doors, panting. Never again. Ferry Monter and the mysterious midnight duel. As if his day hadn't been bad enough, Ferry soon found himself dragged into a duel he definitely did not sign up for. Monter! A voice called as he walked back to the dorms. Dracob Malflush stood in the hallway, flanked by his usual goons. I challenge you to a wizard's duel. Dracob sneered. Ferry blinked. Why? Dracob shrugged. Tradition, I guess. Harmonica gasped. Ferry, you can't. Duels are dangerous. Ronbledore nudged him. Yeah, but if you win, you'll look cool. Ferry considered his options. On one hand, he had no idea how to duel. On the other hand, refusing might make him look like a coward. Fine, he sighed. Let's get this over with. They snuck into an empty classroom at midnight. Dracob took his position, wand at the ready. Ready? He smirked. Not at all, Ferry muttered. Begin! Dracob immediately waved his wand. Expelliarmus! Ferry's wand flew out of his hand and hit him in the face. Well, that was easy. Dracob laughed. Ronbledore patted Ferry on the back. Yeah, you lost in record time. Ferry groaned. This place is going to be the end of me. Ferry Montter and the Cursed Study Group. After failing spectacularly at his first wizard's duel, Ferry decided he should at least try to improve his magical skills. Unfortunately, this led him to what was possibly an even worse fate. A study group. Welcome to the Bravestone Study Alliance, Harmonica announced proudly, spreading out a dozen color-coded notes across the table. Ronbledore groaned. Ugh, study groups are just a trap to make us work. That's the point, Harmonica huffed. We need to pass our exams. Ferry glanced at the list of subjects. Why is Surviving Foggwarts 101 on here? Because last year, 3 students got lost in the staircases and were only found because the janitor needed a mop. Harmonica said matter-of-factly. Ferry shuddered. Fine, let's just get this over with. 10 minutes later, Ronbledore had turned a chair into a chicken. Harmonica was frantically flipping through a spellbook, and Ferry was somehow stuck to the ceiling. Okay, Ferry muttered. Maybe we're not the best study group. From across the room, the chicken let out an unsettlingly human sigh. This is far from over. Ferry's adventure continues. Click on the next part and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss anything.